Hi, everybody. My name is Amarachi Hanacho, and today I will be walking you through using Vault for secure region-specific data management. Great. Um, in this call, in this talk, I will be walking you through why, what problem is Vault solving, why Vault is important, and how you can use Vault to ensure that your applications comply with establish compliance standards, and what features of what will help you make sure that your applications are ready to go, and real world examples of people using Vault in their applications. And we're going to go through a small demo of us implementing Vault for our applications. Great. To start off with, I'd like to start with a simple story, or just so that you understand what is happening because of the century we are in, because of how a lot of people are relying on applications, on software, they've become more complex, especially in the last couple years. And because they are more complex, they are advised to build these applications in a loosely coupled manner, not monolithic anymore. So you have microservices architectures. So you have applications on different cloud providers, maybe AWS, Azure, spread across different regions across the globe. And these different applications might be collecting secrets. For example, if you own an e-commerce shop or an e-commerce website, and your e-commerce website is doing or your e-commerce shop is doing really great. And because of that, you keep scaling up and creating applications on different cloud providers spread across different globes. Your inventory management application is on a different provider. Your authentication application is on a different provider. Your payment gateway is on a different provider. All these different applications that are scattered in different places are collecting important information, are collecting credentials, they're collecting API keys, which they're going to submit to all these payment gateway like Stripe, Paystack. They are collecting OAuth tokens, which they're going to use to sign you in as a Google with your Google account, Facebook account. They have API keys for their inventory management. All these are important keys that you personally would not want to be out there. For example, you would not want your card credentials to be out there. You don't want where you are staying, your house address. But because it's scattered, it makes it very difficult for the organizations to know, okay, who has access to what, right? Are we making sure that our security protocols there are security protocols in place to secure these secrets? For example, okay, we spent so much time securing API keys for the payment gateway or whatnot. Are we going to spend that exact amount of time for different keys that are in different applications? That's just a recipe for disaster. Thirdly, it makes it difficult to know what is happening in your system. It makes it difficult for you to know for example, who has access to what. And because it's very difficult to know what exactly is happening to your system, it makes it a lot harder for your organization to submit audits or to submit or your audit trail to compliance bodies like the GDPR, the NDPR, for them to know that, okay, your application should collect this data. Your application is secure enough to collect this data. And compliance is what we're going to focus on a lot in this call. And failing to meet compliance records or compliance rules comes with very, very hefty price. I don't think even big companies like Google would like to pay. And we're going to get into that more. So what is HashiCorp Vault? HashiCorp Vault is a tool that helps you centralize these secrets. It collects all these secrets in all these places, consolidates it into one platform, and makes it easier for you to encrypt these secrets, encrypt this data. It makes it easier for you to put access controls in place so you would know who should have access to what and who should not have access to what, because everybody knows that you need to implement least privilege. You don't need to give people more access than they need to do their jobs. And Vault helps you do that really easily. It has features like secrets management, dynamic secrets, so it creates secrets that don't live that long. Maybe you need it to sign it to your database for a particular period of time. Vault can help you with that. Vault can help you encrypt your data, can help you control who has access to what, max your data or tokenize your data. For example, you probably have seen like credit cards that instead of putting out their full numbers, you have XXX and the numbers. You can do that with Vault. You can rotate your secrets. That means you can create new secrets, revoke those secrets, revoke people's right to those secrets, delete those secrets. A lot easier with Vault. Instead of doing it in one place, going to another place, going to another place, Vault helps you do that. Vault helps you understand what is happening in your system. It helps you understand who has tampered with what has impacted what because of the audit trail, because it logs what is happening, it logs processes, it logs activities, it logs events, which you can easily submit to these bodies, to these compliance bodies. Also, high availability and disaster recovery. What makes it easier for you to not just lose the secret, even in the event that what happens, that something bad happens. So let's come to why we're here today. What are compliance rules? I've been talking about compliance rules. I've been talking about compliance rules. What are they? So these are regulations and standards that organizations must adhere to in order to protect sensitive data, uphold privacy rights, and maintain ethical practices in their operation. For example, now we all hear about okay, data. Your data is out there. Your data is out there, and you are freely giving this data to organizations. A lot of organizations will not even let you use the application if you don't submit some sensitive data. But who is checking this organization? Who is making sure that this organization have the right to collect your data? And it's because of bodies like the GDPR, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, the PCI DSS, the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, the HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, the NDPR, which is the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation, the POPIA, which is the Protection of Personal Information Act. Right. So I guess from their names, you probably know what data, what these regulation bodies are watching over. For example, the GDPR, it puts in data protection regulation, data protection laws in place for citizens or people living in the European Union. So the countries that are in the European Union, the GDPR makes sure they care about make sure that their data are protected. You have the PCI DSS, which is a security standard aimed at protecting credit card information. Where you submit your credit card information, is it safe? You have the HIPAA, which protects health information, sensitive health information. You have the NDPR, which secures personal data for people living in Nigeria. So it's kind of like the GDPR, but for Nigerians. The POPIA also secures sensitive data for people living in South Africa. So, like I said, the GDPR, but for South Africa. So you might be thinking that, okay, why am I getting into this? We're getting there. So in this call, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on GDPR because we could do the same for LDPR, POPIA, but I realized that we don't really have, like for Africans, we don't really have an African body watching over data protection laws for people living in Africa. But GDPR does that for the EU, and they're a lot similar. So if you prepare for the GDPR, you're kind of already prepared for NDPR and POPIA. And they have a lot of similarities. They care about protecting personal data, user rights, accountability. The differences are very probably obvious, right? They all care about people in different areas like Nigeria, South Africa, and European Union, and they all have enforcement mechanism in place. The GDPR, which I'm going to focus on, has hefty penalties, hefty fines, which is why a lot of people start to care about this. But it's not very easy to ensure that your organization is in line with the GDPR, and that's what Vault helps you with. Like you can see some of these penalties here. Not for non-negligence, you have penalties of 10 million euros or 2% of your revenue. That's a lot. But for negligence, which is probably what you'll be charged with most likely, you have a penalty of 20 million euros and 4% revenue. That's a lot. That's a lot. But what is here to help you? So they have articles, they have like 99 articles that span across different facets of security that you cannot just get with traditional file system encryption. And I'm going to break down some of these articles for you, right? So Article 32 talks about security of process. I'm going to get into that a lot more. And you can do that using both cryptographic barrier and transit. You have feature. You have Article 17, which is the right to erasure, which you can do with Vault Transit derived encryption feature. You have Article 26, joint controllers, which you can do with Vault control groups features. You have Article 27, 28, processor rights, which you can do with Vault Sentinel policies and control groups feature. You have Article 44 to 55, transference of data, which you can do with Vault mount filter features. You have Article 39, data protection impact assessment, which you can do with Vault audit, dynamic secret, unified identity, codified vaults, and whatnot. And I'm going to get into that and how you can do that with Vault. So the whole security of processing means that no matter where your data is, whether it's moving, whether it's in transit, whether it's at rest, it should be secured and encrypted as much as possible. And if you remember back then, I told you that Vault helps you encrypt your data. So this is something that Vault will help you with and makes it very easy for you to do this. And you can do this with the cryptographic barrier and transit engine. And this is available also in the Vault free version, which I'm going to show you how to do. You have the right to erasure. That means if somebody has submitted their data to you and they're like, okay, I don't want you to have access to this data. They have every right to have their data deleted. And you can do that with Vault transit engine, derived encryption keys for data. You have joint controllers, which means that, okay, somebody wants to have access to your data. You can implement it in such a way that they only have access if multiple parties agree that these people should have access to this data. You can do that with Vault group control groups features, which is not really in the free version. So you have processor rights, which is a processor cannot engage with other processor subject data without consent, without controller's consent. You can do that with Vault Sentinel policies and control groups, which have fine-grained access control. You have transference of data to third party, which basically says that, okay, this is the data for the EU, for the people living in EU, or for the people in Nigeria, for the people in South Africa. We don't really want this data to move out of the confines of these like borders. And that's really difficult to do. That's very difficult to do, especially in this age, in this digital village age. You can do that with Vault. You can do that with Vault mount filters. Finally, you have the data protection impact assessment, which means that if for whatever reason there is a breach, you should be able to explicitly map what has happened to what has happened to what, the impact of this data breach from different identities. You should be able to map that. And you can do that with Vault audit logs, Vault dynamic secrets, unified identity, codified Vault policies, and whatnot. So with the audit trail, you can watch events that have been happening to your secrets over time. And that's what Vault helps you to do. There are a lot of people that have been using Vault. You have GitHub. GitHub at this point is an ambassador for Vault. You have Nordstorm, you have SAP, you have Adobe, you have eBay, you have a lot of people that care about Vault. Great. So I'm going to kind of walk you through a simple application, a simple Vault use. So that will be the transit engine, which means that you can encrypt your data as much as possible. So here we go. I have signed into my Vault. I have signed into Vault already. So this is my Vault dashboard. So I've already unsealed and logged in to where my Vault is installed, and my Vault is installed on a Linux virtual machine. So yes. So of course I just exposed my keys, but those keys are not important because I'm not really using them. So you can create Vault, you can create transit engines on Vault here. It's very easy to do. You can go here, create a new engine, but I'm going to do this through the command line, which is also pretty easy. I have all the codes here. So first of all, you want to enable Vault transit. Okay, I think I know what is happening. Let me open a new window. Hopefully, I've not run out of time. Okay, great. Now that I've logged in, let me try to encrypt it. So this is how to run it. I have enabled transit. Let me just do it again. Okay, transit is already in use because I have already enabled a transit engine. But run this command to enable a transit engine. So I'm going to create a new transit key, right? An encryption key, which is going to be called demo key. You can think of demo key as like your password. So I have created a new demo key. If Once you're done, I'm going to use this demo key to encrypt a piece of data, just simple data, which is called my secret. So what is happening here is this my secret becomes encoded in base 64, and Vault does that to just ensure uniformity. Then using this demo key that we've created, Vault encrypts this my secret data key. So when you're done, you can see the ciphertext. This is the encrypted information. So you can see it here. For it to decrypt this my secret data, you just replace your ciphertext here. I already did that before, but let me do it again. You just replaced it here and just copy it. You get this, which is just the base 64 of our value. Sorry, I already used this before. So let me just copy and paste this, which is the same value that we tried to encrypt before. This is the same as my secret data, but just encoded in base 64. Then I paste it here. And you can see you have my secret data. Because I just decrypted it. So what we did originally here was to encrypt my secret data. All right, once I encrypted it and got the ciphertext, I then used the ciphertext and decrypted it using the ciphertext, and I got the original plain text, but encoded in base 64. I decoded it from base 64, and I got the original my secret data. You can also see, I guess you can also see this. Hopefully, I don't get logged out, which I probably would. I got logged out. Let me log in with I have my keys here. Where are my keys? Oh my goodness, I hope my keys are here. No, let me download this. Let me open my downloaded keys. So you have to log in with your root token. That's what you use your sealed keys to unseal. Use your keys to unseal your vault, because when you install Vault is naturally sealed. I'm going to send you, you can also check, Vault has amazing documentation if you want to figure out how to install Vault. So, Vault has amazing documentation. It talks about how to unseal, okay, not this Vault, HashiCorp Vault. So, there's an amazing documentation. You can talk about installing and unsealing. So you can see this transit. This is your transit key here. This is demo key that we created. We can also use this we can also encrypt it here. So we can say, hey there, and encrypt it. This will be your ciphertext. You can copy it, but yeah, we've already done that via the CLI. So the next step we're going to do is, sorry, that's my mistake. Next one we're going to do is so what we just did now is security of process. We just proved that bots can be used to encrypt and decrypt data. So the next step we're going to talk about is write to erasure. How does Vault handle write to erasure? Vault does it in a way that you can use right? You can use ciphertext to provide context to data that you've encrypted. So when you come, okay, I don't want you to have access to my data anymore. What Vault does is Vault just kind of deletes that ciphertext. So your data that's already been encrypted is kind of lost. Nobody can have access again to read that data, no matter what happens, whether breaches or something. Your data is literally useless. Data can also securely delete or re-encrypt to make sure that your previously encrypted data becomes irretrievable, fulfilling the right to be forgotten. So you can do that here. I'm going to show you how to do that a little bit. So I have it here called derived keys. So we can create derived keys the way we sort of created the transit. But here we're going to specify that we want the derived key to be true. So Vault is going to make this key that we are creating, this derived key here, to be a derived key. Well, so what that means is that if Vault is encrypting your data, it doesn't use like a single key. Vault automatically creates keys that are temporary, create keys for this particular user, for this particular data we're encrypting. So even if this key gets compromised, this automatic key that you created gets compromised, it doesn't compromise all of that data that has been encrypted using this key, using this master key. So how can we encrypt a data? So let's do this. So you have this, we're encrypting user secrets. Right, so let me explain this. We're going to first encode this user secret in base 64, then encrypt it using one of the automatically generated keys that Vault will provide. Then we are providing a context, which is user ID 123. We can also call it HashiTalks, anything that we'd like. Oh, no, this is not what I wanted. We can just call it user, to be honest. So we have gotten our cipher key, ciphertext, sorry. Then yeah, we're going to replace this with a ciphertext, with our ciphertext. For example, unlike before where we did not need to provide context. If we try to run this without providing context, for example, let me show you. If we try to decipher this without providing context, it's not going to work. I'm going to get an error. You need a context. And you have to do that with derived. So let me show you. Oh, my bad. It's user. So we've got an original byte. We've got an original plain text. So we can always decode it like we did here to get our original data. So is our secret, which is what we encrypted originally. I don't know if you can find it. Where is the things that we encrypted originally? Shit. That's what we encrypted originally, user secret. So you can always save this ciphertext or this context in your database. And whenever the user says, okay, I do not need this anymore, you can always easily delete it. And then this data would be lost instead of deleting the original key itself. So yes, like I also said, Vault enables you to have um audit trail of whatever is your secret. And you can do that by enabling audit trail. I've already done that. But I'm going to open my file. So this is what has been happening. Of course, it could be a lot prettier, but yeah. It has your time, what has been happening to what. Yes. So, for example, that's what is happening. This is your audit. So let me clear this up. And like I said before, you can rotate. For example, these are my keys. These are my demo and derived keys that we created. You can always put a bit of rotation on your keys, right? You can edit your keys and say, okay, rotation period. After 30 days, this key would be invalid. We are not going to use this key for anything. And you can do that easily with Vault. You can also delete these keys if you'd wanted. And yeah, let me um let me save it. Although I'll delete this after this call. But yes, these are things that Vault helps you with. So yeah, with Vault, you can do a lot of things. You can not just secure your data, you can also ensure that you are following compliance rules. That's very difficult to do, but with Vault, it's a lot easier. And I hope that this talk has not been really boring. I hope you've understood why Vault is so important, and why Vault is such an interesting thing to care about. And yeah, you can play around with it to get a free Vault account, encrypt data, decrypt data, encrypt larger amounts of data from your applications, and do what you like. But yeah, if you'd like to learn more about what is happening in this space, in the cloud native space, please connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm always happy to talk. I'm always happy to chat. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.